Hello and welcome to the We Wish We Had Ricky Gervais show. Here, Ty Cook, the fifth member of the Big Bang Theory. To my left, Will Radford, the hipster before hipsters were cool. And to my right, Josh DeBinney, the most professional furry and brony I've ever known.
Bro Huffman.
All right. Okay, so for the first episode, I'd figure we do something a little bit classy and use the 10 questions originally created by Bernard Pivot, but made famous by
James Lipton.
oh yes, thank you. I had a brain fart there. James Lipton on the Inside the Actor Studio. I don't know what happened to me there. So, and we're gonna do this in a roundabout.
The guy that Will Ferrell played on Saturday Night Live so well. Yeah, you never saw that?
I never saw.
Oh,
that.
it was terrific. It was one of my favorite sketches that he did. He did James Lipton really well.
All right, so I'll ask the questions, and then we'll go all around, and then do you guys just want to like pass this thing around and ask each other, or okay?
It'd be like Trivial Pursuit.
Exactly.
Like one question until we get to
All right, so, okay, the first question. Josh, what is your favorite word?
Tits. It's just a fun word to say. Tits.
Not your favorite thing.
No.
Just your favorite word.
Yeah.
Will, your favorite word?
My favorite word is obliterate.
Obliterate.
Obliterate is my favorite word. Not necessarily for the meaning. I just like the way that it rolls off the tongue. Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite reasons for my word, which is nevertheless.
Nevertheless,
It's
cool.
it's 3 words, but for some reason the dictionary counts it as one word.
It just flows off the tongue.
It does.
Nevertheless.
It's like Elvish. Yeah.
It is, and it should be like 12 billion syllables, but it's just nevertheless.
Nevertheless, yeah, it's a good one.
All right. Ty, what is your least favorite word?
God. Least favorite word. That's a toughie. I would almost have to say.
This is the part where we insert the Jeopardy theme.
It's another character Will Ferrell played very well was Alex Trebek.
Apparently tonight is Will Ferrell trivia.
Yeah,
night.
it's Will Ferrell trivia night by Will. Yeah, hosted by Will Radford. Right.
Right now, and I'll probably think of it later on in the podcast. I'll just like randomly blurt it out. But it's honestly almost anything stupidly said. I mean, if you don't know how to say it, but if you're just on purposely say it, for example, I hate Pokemans.
Pokemans.
I
I think Pokemans will suffice for their least favorite word. I think that's one of mine
Yeah.
too. Actually, and it's weird that you would say that. I overheard people talking in the Holderby lobby today because that's where you go if you want to hear intelligent conversation. Is that someone said that it's like when old people say Pokemans. And I think that it's funny that that's such a universal thing because I can remember my grandparents referring to Pokemon as Pokemans whenever it was the crazy fad in middle or elementary school. So
On that note, the first thing that comes to mind for me, words I hate, when people call it Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
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 Yu-Gi-Oh. That goes right up there with Naruto.
So welcome to Anime Trading Cards.
right. Yeah. The many mispronunciations of anime show titles.
Will, your least favorite word?
My least favorite word is cunt.
Oh, excellent.
And it's a word that I don't use very often, and it's a word that I have many reasons for hating. One is because I think it's a very harsh and mean-spirited word,
course,
and I
yes.
reserve it only for very, very specific, well, cunts, for lack of a better word. And also, I think that it doesn't have a very, whereas nevertheless and obliterate do roll off of the tongue, cunt doesn't. You have to sort of force yourself to say
You
it.
do.
You have to make a conscious decision to say cunt. I think every time someone says cunt, they have to think about it and premeditate it beforehand because it's not something that just slips into casual conversation because it's not an easy word to fall off of the tongue. So that would be my
And for our listeners, Will Will's archetype is professor, and he just took off his glasses and started waving them like a professor.
Yeah, that would also fit. That would also fit the pretentious hipster card. It's like, I don't like the word cunt. I don't say the word cunt. It's overused. So I've got the pad now.
The third question, please.
Okay. Ty, what turns you on?
Turns me on.
Now is this what turns you on, or what gets you going?
Let's, for the sake of this, let's go ahead and do both.
Okay.
Okay.
To me, what really gets me going is clear inspiration and readiness to do anything. I mean, even if you don't know anything about whatever you're working on, just the fact that you want to do it and you're ready to do it, no matter what the costs are, to me, that just gets inspiring. And I guess on an equal level, the fact that someone who is almost practically a celebrity level and is a god to us students, the fact that he can just talk heart to heart and not be
humility.
yeah,
in a lot of ways.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But pervertedly, I'm kind of an ass man, really.
Well, you certainly are an ass.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Josh,
Josh, what turns you on?
Performance-wise, laughter.
Oh, yes.
I recall like 2 years ago being in a production of Noises Off. It's this huge slapstick play, and we had been working on it for 2 months, and I was sick and tired. I was just ready to drop the business. And then we got the first night, and there was laughter, and just at that moment, it was like, this is all worth it.
It's a strong departure from Dead Man Walking,
Oh.
where there was no laughter
No.
at all. Not during the making of it, not during the performances of it. There was no laughter.
And the sad thing is, for the video section of that, which I was in, there sadly was a blooper reel, and not even that was funny.
Why didn't they play that after the curtain call? That would have been awesome.
I'll be honest, half the blooper reel was me getting ready to punch, what was the main character's name?
Let's just say
Matt.
Matt, yes. The scene is that he's Matt and the other guy who we never see, he's raping my character's girlfriend, and I'm previously punched, and the scene where the bloopers was where I'm recovering from being punched, and I get up and I'm ready to punch this guy, and he turns around with a gun in my face, and apparently the director did not give us very good timing, at least until that point, on when I should get up and when the gun should be pointed at me. So like half of the bloopers are me just like getting up and ready to punch and just like standing there waiting for him to turn, like, excuse me, sir, could I have your permission to punch you?
Punch you in the face.
Could you please stop raping my girlfriend?
And as for pervertedly, long hair.
Long hair.
Really? Long hair?
Kind of long hair.
What type of long hair are we talking about? Like just to the shoulders long hair? Or are we talking like hippie, like down to your butt long hair?
To the shoulders.
To the shoulders?
So, I've seen videos of I think he's the guitarist of Nightwish, and there's just something about his long, like, godly long hair. It's like, wow. For all the listeners at home, I am a flaming homosexual. I just thought that's a good thing for everyone.
May as well get that on the table now. You know.
I'm sure they're all listening. Is he a flaming homosexual?
We just lost all of the white supremacists
Oh,
in
those
our
are
audience.
Your listeners.
By listeners, man. We just lost them.
sorry.
They were like, yeah, I love his show. Hell yeah. And then you said that you were a homosexual. And
I'm no longer a
that just killed us.
Well,
Killed
you're on
it.
the fast track to being the next Glenn Beck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I am.
Just compare everything to a Nazi now.
Right, I'll start pretty soon. I'll break out the chalkboard and I'll start crying while we record these.
All right, Will, what turns you on?
Intelligence.
Intelligence?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think speaking non-sexually,
He's doing it again with the glasses.
I can't help it, man. I can't help it. When it comes to talking about this kind of thing, I have to take my glasses off because I have to. Blurring my vision helps me think.
And his legs are crossed very intellectually.
Hey, you guys knew what you were getting yourselves into. You knew what you were getting yourselves into when you asked me to do a podcast. Intelligence turns me on. Non-sexually and sexually, intelligence turns me on. But specifically in the non-sexual category, I would say intelligence. When it comes to sexually, I like pale brunette girls. Yeah. So in a nutshell, that is my answer to that question, both in both categories.
All right, and the opposite of that question, what turns you off, Josh?
Silence. Dead silence.
Yes.
Nothing kills a show worse. What turns me? Well, the preferred answer should be obvious. So, well.
Well, what turns me off? I would have to say, on the flip side, that's the the opposite of intelligence is ignorance, and ignorance is a huge turnoff. But aside from that, arrogance turns me off. Obnoxiousness turns me off. Lots of things turn me off. I would say that sexually, blondes with big tits turn me off.
Really?
Pamela Anderson turns me off. Yeah,
No.
like or just that entire structure is just not
Okay,
good.
so the apparent need to be beautiful, that turns you off.
Yeah,
that type
looking
of
like plastic Barbie doll,
But
kind of synthetic. Yeah,
but if there just happened to be a naturally blonde, big titty girl,
right. Well, I mean, this all depends on the girl and the person and that kind of thing. I can't say too much about that, considering that I have a girlfriend that would probably hate me for that, for going into too much detail about that kind of thing. But yeah, no, in a nutshell, I mean, yeah, speaking in a shallow sense and then speaking on a more intellectual level, I'm going to answer and say ignorance, arrogance, and Pamela Anderson turned me off. So yeah.
We were then sued by Pamela Anderson's production company for defamation. Thank you, Will.
Right. Yes. Yes. I do what I can. Okay.
Hey, Ty! What turns you off?
well, if you need to ask, the refusal to move forward. I mean, I kind of goes along with the ignorance, but I feel even if you don't know stuff, if you just continuously refuse to move forward or even apologize with anything at all, that is just the most unwanted trait of a human being I can possibly see. The willingness to not learn, to realize your own mistakes, or even realize how even if you're not aware of yourself and what you're doing, your effect on others. That's what I just cannot stand in another person. And this sexually turns me off. I would almost have to think, really, almost sluttiness, really. I mean, there's obviously the perverted romance, but just the fact that you have just no self-respect. I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. That if you have no self-respect whatsoever.
So what turns you off is what turns Josh on.
Basically.
is essentially what we're getting at here. Okay. I see how it goes.
All right, well, what's the next question, Josh?
What sound or noise do you love?
Will?
Starts with me. There is a sound in. I don't even know what the sound is. It sounds like a ticking clock, but it's something that I've heard in a lot of experimental music that's like synthesized together, and it's like this really hollow, like clicking sound. And I don't even know what it's called. I don't know how to describe it, but I love this sound. I've been thinking about it all the time lately, and it's in this track that I found by a guy named, I think his name is Ricardo Villalobos, I think, and he did this like weird, just long, like, track of just weird sounds compiled together. And yeah, I really like that sound, as unclear as that might be.
Thinking a lot about it lately. That sounds like the start of a really bad psychological play.
I might write it, I might write it all based on that one track.
Josh, your sound?
My sound. Oh, I thought you were gonna answer.
Oh,
Fine.
well, if you want, okay, fine, I'll skip you.
Fine.
But to me, the thing that just makes me turn my head and go, dear God, I love that, is really my lover's laugh. like I could just be having the worst day and just say just a really dumb, sarcastic joke, and the moment she smiles and laughs, I could be out and in the middle of an ocean on a deserted island with no hope of survival, but if I heard her laugh, it's like, oh, today's a really good day. I like this.
I'm pretty sure that's what also kept Tom Hanks going in Castaway. You mentioned, besides Wilson, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Ty, she's not your lover. You're stalking her. There's a huge difference, man.
If Emma Watson is listening, I'm so sorry.
Rain.
Rain.
I like rain. I've always liked the sound of rain beating against the roof or the roof of a car. It's just a very calming noise to me.
I find that totally agreeable.
You know, I was going to mention rain, but then I realized that everybody likes rain, and rain's a little overrated. So
It's basically he's saying it's too mainstream.
rain's a little too mainstream for me. You know. Okay. What following on that? What sound or noise do you hate?
Without a doubt. Do you know those little cards that claim to be 3D, but all you do is like twist it, horizontally or vertically or whatever, and like the motions like move back and forth.
Yeah. When you scratch it,
When you scratch it, and just I don't know what it is because the sound itself, it does not bug me. I don't. But as soon as I hear it, my body just gets goosebumps, and I just curl up like a dead bug. I cannot stand that noise.
Sometimes I just refuse to touch stuff like that.
It's like, oh, no, I don't care if you're worth $1 billion. I'm not touching it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, maybe if I had earplugs, but point aside.
On that note, susurrescence. Now, susurrescence is the sound of two fabrics rubbing together. I work in a costume shop. I hear this all the time.
Oh.
It sends shivers down my spine.
I'm not familiar with susurrescence. Oh, just any fabrics rubbing together?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
Really?
Oh.
Some it's more loud than others, and it's just zzz.
Uh-huh. Like, what two fabrics give off, like, the worst possible?
God.
Sandpaper. Well, sandpaper's not fabric.
Susurrescence, I made it before. The kind I hate is when something is scraping against fabric, like metal on fabric, so scissors on a cutting table. Yeah. So, like that.
Okay. As far as the noise that I hate, I really I hate mufflers. Like I hate mufflers on like loud trucks. I can't stand that. And it's not just for the degree of volume that's like at an ear-shattering level when everyone passes you by. But I just don't like. I don't like the sound in general. It sounds like grease and mud. It's fucking disgusting. So if you drive a truck with a loud muffler, fuck you. Next question.
And there went our southern audience.
Well, we've already
We
lost
lost them.
As soon as you said who you really were, Josh, they were gone.
So, to that one person listening, thanks, Mom.
Right.
This is probably going to be the best part. Josh, what is your favorite curse word?
Whoo! Doggy. That's a toss-up between fuck and tits.
Because tits was the favorite word, so that still counts.
There has not been a day gone by where I've pricked myself in the needle and shouted tits at the top of my lungs.
Will, your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse word is damn, believe it or not.
Damn?
Damn is my favorite curse word. It's like it's the mildest of the curse words, and for some reason it's my favorite. It just has a nice ring to it, and it's funny.
God, Will, you are just the most boring person.
Well, I know, yeah. I have to.
Josh, why did we get him on here again?
I have to take my glasses off just to entertain myself. Like, cut me a break. Like, shit, I got to do something, in my day-to-day life.
To me, the most comical is when you just drag out the U and fuck. It's like, fuck! And you're just drowned out. But to me, my favorite curse word is pussy.
Let's see, yes.
To me, it's both elegant pussy and dirty at the same time. And to me personally, sorry, Josh, but I'm a big fan. I mean, that's it's where I originated, and you know, I like to visit as much as I can. So, and to me, you know, it's you know, when you say like pussy, it's like, you know, you get like you get definitely more than the cat, but it's also something you have to work for, and it's definitely something well earned. But I think I've lost all the homosexual audiences.
So welcome to our first production and broadcast of our misogynistic podcast.
Where we're offending everybody.
Yeah, we'll be here for another 2 weeks.
But to me, it's just such. It's really the opposite of cunt. Really, it's just so. Pussy.
Well, I mean, you know, it's warmer and less
It
threatening
is.
than cunt. When you say cunt, it insinuates something
Exactly.
that's vile and vulgar
And infected.
infected
Oh, good
and
Lord.
you know, terrible. Whereas if you say pussy,
Pussy.
it's a lot more. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So it's more friendly.
All right. William,
Yes.
what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
There are a few I would like to attempt. Honestly, I would be a or psychology, or social worker specifically. Yeah, I know it's funny, isn't it? The only reason why I say that is because I have a very good understanding of it. As far as giving people good advice, I don't know if I could ever do that. But so yeah, well, let's say social worker or English teacher, both of which are funny. That's why I
English teacher.
Any profession where Will can take off his glasses.
right. Well,
And it'd be part of the job.
I'm just fuck you. I'm just going to get contacts. that way you cannot. I'm going to get contacts and a $300 suit and wear it every day, and then you could never criticize me for being a hipster again. And I'm going to start watching mainstream movies. I'm going to go see every Transformers movie that they make, and I'm going to love it.
But you do realize how much you would not be able to talk to us anymore, Will. It's like, so, you know, Will, what did you think of that independently produced play? It's all right.
Yeah, it was all right. I didn't really understand it. I didn't see the point. You want to know? All it was is a bunch of people sitting around talking. In the case of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, it was just a married couple screaming at each other for 3 hours.
And they wouldn't let me take my beer into the theater.
Well, no, I still get pissed about that, regardless.
To me, I think.
Now, aside from male hooker tie,
Actually, I was going to say, well, if Batman is off the table, I think I would love to be a movie critic. I mean, this kind of goes a little bit egotistical, where I would love to force my opinion onto someone else who has no clue whatsoever. But
wasn't that what this podcast is about? Is forcing our own opinions on people?
Exactly. But to me, I think the ability to say something intelligent about someone's artwork, and an artwork that I especially love, I think to me that really is, at least in my sense, one of the coolest jobs, is to be able to critique and your opinion matter, and not in that, "Ooh, look at me, I'm important" sort of way. And to me, that's why, even if I disagree with him, Roger Ebert is one of the coolest guys I
Yes,
know.
I agree with that. Actually, he is my favorite living journalist, is Roger Ebert, believe it or not. And that's weird. That is very anti-hipster, for the record, because Roger Ebert is a well-known mainstream journalist. He's actually the only film critic most average people know by name. And I've got his book right there. But
Which one's that?
it's Life Itself. It's his memoir. I haven't read
nice.
a single page.
We're recording this in Will's hot as hell dorm room, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. By the way, we're in my dorm room.
We are totally doing this in my dorm next time.
It's nice that you moved the huge pile of marijuana, though. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah.
The smell's a bit too much.
It's right there in the corner. They'll be probably knocking on my door here in a few minutes to tell me how bad it is, and then take me to jail for doing something that's completely harmless, like they do best. But
But you know, Josh, if you weren't in here trying to be an actor, what would you be?
I I'd probably go into computer technologies, or
That's yeah.
a long time ago, before I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be a zoologist.
Really? Like what field of zoology?
Yes.
Yes.
I like the Animal Planet, damn it.
You know, I gotta say, I'm starting to hate the Animal Planet because when I was home for spring break, I don't know if it was just bad timing, but every show was Animal Cops, and it's just like
That's the best part
I'm
of
so depressed. They're like they're mistreating puppies and ponies.
But from my understanding, the Animal Planet now carries a show called Too Cute, which
Really?
seems to be the exact opposite of Animal Cops, where it's like a few weeks in the life of a kitten or a puppy.
It's just like that's YouTube in a box, basically. I gotta say, I always end up crying like, they rescued the puppy from the gutter. Yes, happy day.
In the arms of an angel.
And now they've got Sarah McLachlan. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that commercial. It's like change.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're suffering,
Well,
puppies.
I don't change it because I'm hurt or depressed by it or saddened by it. I change it because they're too damn long.
I know.
They go on for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I don't care. Next channel. I hate the environment and all animals, by the way. I'm in favor of global warming. I hate our animals, and I think that PETA is an abortion. So
No, have you heard recently what PETA's been doing? They've come out with statistics to where they've euthanized 98% of all their animals. They no longer, they honestly think that pets is having a pet is the worst thing on the planet. They would rather kill the animal itself than have it be owned by a human.
Well, that's nothing new. They've been doing that for years.
I mean, people have said like, oh, they're like animals' rights. Like, no, they aren't. They are freaking killing these. They are. It's like they might as well be crucifying these animals. It's just that messed up.
The enemies from Pokemon Black are more animal rights than PETA.
Exactly. Was Team Plasma are more PETA than PETA is.
And they wore suits of armor.
Well, what's funny to me is that you could theoretically take all the humans off of the planet, and animals would still kill each other.
Oh, of course.
And it'd be a horrible existence for all animals, and it's a horrible existence for humans who are also animals. So I mean,
What? No, that's not true. We're humans.
Right. We are 1% different than chimps. Yeah.
We were created in one day. And there we go, the
we were
Christians.
we were created by as George Carlin would say, by a magical man in the sky with a beard.
And there goes all the creationists.
Yeah, we lost them too. We lost them with the Southerners because there's virtually no difference.
And my mom is now turning on the mute button.
But yeah, I think that honestly, there's a little something called the food chain, and I think that it's been around.
There's that, but to me, when you have even something as simple as a dog who has a 2-foot chain and he gets one meal a day and it's barely anything, and he just stays out there all year, and he has practically no shelter whatsoever, to me, that is just messed up, and you should not be able to own a dog. Or if you're like my neighbor who originally started out with like 2 cats, but now she's, as long as I've known her, she's had, it's the same, like the genetic tree of this cat family does not branch off. It's the same inbred cats. In fact, a few years ago, I saw a cat that belonged to her who literally has their legs backwards. Like the toes are all facing towards the butt. I mean, it's just, oh my God, you should get rid of all these animals, please.
So they are the wrong turn mutants of the cat community.
It really is, and we've adopted a few of them whenever our cats have died, and the first thing we did was give them a bath, and when we're holding the kittens in the sink and we're pouring the water and the soap over the face, it quite literally, with no exaggeration, looks like the flesh-eating bugs from the Mummy. I mean, you just see that many ticks and fleas just crawling, and it's like, oh my God, you need to be, all you guys need to be saved right now. And to me, just the ignorance of taking care of an animal.
But if you give it enough time, maybe they'll develop superpowers. The X-Kittens. I'm
Okay.
If we have any aspiring comic book artists, please, for the love of God, write X-Kittens.
Okay.
But the questions,
Yeah,
yes.
moving on. We left off with Josh, right?
I think so. What was your? Oh yes,
What
you were the
profession would you-
zoologist.
Zoologist. That's how we got on that
Okay,
tangent.
so
Okay.
yes,
What does it starts with me, right?
yes.
What profession would you not like to do? And there are a variety of answers to that. Anything that involves me being in a cubicle for the rest of my life, I would not like to do any of that. I would not like to do that, or okay, here's one, and this is a more common one: waiter.
Really?
Yeah, would not. No, thank
Well,
you.
you're getting an acting degree.
I was about to say, Will, we're all theater majors here.
Okay, but okay, I can just as easily.
But as a permanent job, yeah.
Yeah, well, I could just as easily do fast food. Could do that for the rest of my life. But waiter, as in a sit-down restaurant.
Oh yeah.
No, I would, because with fast food, you know, you deal with people to the extent that you take their orders and you take their money and then you give them a bag of food. You don't have to keep checking up on them to see if they have anything to nitpick about, to see if they're mad because their steak is a little more pink than they pictured it in their head or they saw it on the fucking menu. You know, I mean, it's like waiters get treated like shit. I think waiters and waitresses get treated even worse than people at fast food restaurants get treated a lot of the time.
Welcome to Burger King. What the fuck do you want?
that would be my slogan, yeah. That would be, you know, I mean, assuming that they would let me smoke indoors. And they wouldn't.
Well, if you go to my local KFC, they probably would.
Oh, would they? Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
But of course, mashed potatoes with like the perfect ashtray.
Exactly. To me, this goes with really personal experience since I've been scarred. Dentist. I have been too scarred. I had braces for 7 years by a dentist, not an optometrist, a dentist who knows nothing, and I've had it for 7 fucking years. And then I had every goddamn device into my mouth. I even sounded, exactly like this. And do you know how god awful it is to just exist in high school in a very frickin' Republican town where you like Pokemons and you talk like this?
Did you have your palate split? Was that what it was? Like when you got braces?
I honestly lost count of what I was
because
being done.
The reason why I ask is because I almost had my palate split, and they were going to put something like on the roof of my mouth that would make me talk.
I had
like
the
that.
key thing, I had the spacer
that's
thing,
what it was.
I had something to where I could not literally close my mouth. I just had this awkward, creepy smile, just this all day. That just could not. I hate. But other than personal
But
scars,
how has that changed, Ty? How has that changed?
well, I do believe that I can now enunciate, and I'm doing my best to give off a Kevin Conroy impersonation. But not other job than that. I would honestly think tattoo artist. I mean, there's some people would say, but there's the occasional hot chick can get to work on her boobs or vagina. Like, but think of all the other extremely ugly people that get tattoos on their vaginas and their boobs, and then there's always the risk of just giving off a god-awful tattoo. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just type in on Google baby tattoos. You'll see the first result is just, it looks like they gave birth to mutated zombies. It's just awful, and stuff like that I don't think I'd love to do.
But Ty, I don't think you can draw comic books on someone's back.
I can draw a decent picture. It's definitely not the Mona Lisa or anything Jim Lee related, but I can draw decently. But yours, Josh?
What was the question?
What was
Your
the
least
profession? Yeah, what was the profession you'd hate or least favorite?
Anything Mike Rowe does. I could not. I could not just get waist deep into slop and God knows what every day.
And I'll be honest, Will, I thought you would say something like Michael Bay's toilet paper.
Well, that'd be a terrible profession. Just if you don't believe me, just ask Megan Fox. But I mean, like I think that yeah, that would be horrible if that is a profession. That would be a pretty terrible one to have. Yeah.
All right. And the last question of the top 10. Josh, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Ha! I'm letting everyone in. You're all fools.
Got you.
Let me tell you, that book was just a whole big joke.
I can't believe they took it seriously.
Mass genocide's funny, right, guys?
Will, you?
If I get to heaven, what do I want to hear God say to me? I
Yeah.
want to hear God say, "Don't worry, you're not going back." That would be my answer to that question.
To me, I think I think God would probably just look at me and go, I am so sorry you had to deal with all that. I'm sorry with those people. That's my bad. I am so sorry.
A personal apology from God.
Really?
That would be nice, but I mean, it would be one of those things like, it would almost be like if someone accidentally burned down your house, thinking that it, like, you know, like, I don't know, a hitman burned down your house thinking that it was the right house of the person he was supposed to kill, and in turn murdered your entire family, and then came up to you and said, "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that." It's like, well, it's just a little too late for sorry, man. You know, like, I mean, that's kind of how I would feel about God's personal apology to mankind. But, I mean, it would still be, I mean, it would be better than nothing, I think.
And that's the story of how Will became an orphan.
Just like the Baudelaire children in a series of unfortunate events.
Did they ever make continuation of those movies, or was it just like the first three books in one?
It was the first 3 books in one. They haven't made any more since then.
I'd like to see some. Because
I didn't get it because I was young and I saw Jim Carrey play characters, and my 10-year-old was like, that's funny.
Yeah,
But-
well, the movies, or the movie was good. I like the books a lot, and the movie, I still thought the movie was cool. I think Jim Carrey was rightly cast.
Oh, yeah.
in the character, but I think they played him up too much.
Yeah.
I think if he had been less wacky and more sinister, it would have been a lot cooler. But at the same time, it was a Nickelodeon movie, it was a family movie, and if they tried to keep it too closely to the books, I feel like it would have been way too grim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool if Tim Burton was still directing it.
Yeah, that would be really neat. I heard rumors that he was going to do it.
I do gotta admit, that was like the first funny commercial I remember. Was like, starring Jim Carrey, starring Jim Carrey, starring Jim Carrey, and also starring Jim Carrey. I'm like, and my 10-year-old brain thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
But
Welcome to 2004 Movie Review Radio.
And if it's not that yet, it will be that soon.
And we've actually made up a few questions of our own. The first one, what, Josh, is your favorite internet meme? And for those who don't know a meme, because apparently a lot of people on the internet still don't know what a meme is. It's basically an inside joke that's been so spread around. It's still technically an inside joke, but everyone knows it. It's sort of in that, and it goes anywhere between just expressions or cartoon faces, or even just any joke at all, really. Basically on the internet now, that's now widespread.
My favorite meme. The first two things that jump to mind are Scumbag Steve
Scumbag Steve, yes.
and that ever so popular song, It's Friday,
Friday,
gotta
get down on Friday. And we just sadly sung it better than her with 2 seconds.
I don't know these people. I am in no way. I just wandered in to this. I just came into my dorm today, and there were microphones set up, and there were laptops, and they were like, "Will, you're doing a podcast," and I said, "Okay." It's a little too mainstream for my tastes, but okay, we'll do it.
So you don't have a favorite meme?
Actually, I do.
You can scoot up closer to the mic. You don't have to like pretend.
I know, but where we've got video going, I'm trying.
It doesn't matter, Will. You just do whatever.
Okay. My favorite internet meme would probably be, I really like Socially Awkward Penguin a lot for obvious reasons, but I think my favorite is honestly the condescending Wonka. Have you seen those?
Oh, you must be new.
Yeah. No, that's what's so funny is because, and that's still my favorite before it became like a widespread meme, but like it.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. But no, really, like, I mean, when it was on 4chan, I would see it like all the time, and they would post it when somebody would get like really offended and outraged by one of the topics, and it would just be that picture of Wonka like with his head propped against his hand with the caption that said, "You must be new."
But my two favorite Willy Wonkas was the first one was during Whitney Houston. It's like, oh, Whitney Houston died? You must have always been a big fan. Because I'm sorry, I mean, you can like her, but she honestly was, doing crack and all the other stuff up until the day she died. She even
Crack is whack.
yes, and third.
I feel,
But-
on a serious note, being serious here, I feel the same way about. I mean, I said the same thing when Whitney Houston died as I said when Amy Winehouse died.
Exactly.
Bitch should have gone to rehab.
Really. And I hate the
That was
fact-
not meant to be
She
serious.
said no.
But she said no.
No.
But I hate how people always view these dead celebrities as like saints and like, oh, I've always loved them. You've never talked about them before. Shut up. You're not the hugest fan.
I didn't realize how good Amy Winehouse's music was until she was dead.
I believe we call that the Leonardo, not the Van Gogh effect.
Yes.
But I also saw this one where this guy painted like a huge 8x8 or whatever the durations, but it was just huge, larger than life size version of the frame, and the caption says, "Oh, you painted Willy Wonka and entertained him in an art show. You must think that you're a really great artist."
Tell you, your camera seems to have been died.
Oh, my camera side? Oh well.
Damn, that was my center spotlight.
Oh well.
I've got the webcam. Sorry.
But I've always been a fan of the why you know guy. Why you not I text you, why you not text me back?
I think yeah.
And there was another. I cannot. But I guess for now it's the why you know guy.
On one of Will's favorites, the socially awkward penguin.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I just can't do it because it really hits too close to home.
That
it
one
does.
does, and so does
Yes.
Depression Dog. Depression Dog always hits too close to home. I have never. There was actually the greatest Depression Dog I've ever seen. That it was just it was so bad and so horrifyingly pessimistic that it was almost not funny. But I laughed anyway because that's just the kind of sick fuck that I am. It was a picture of Depression Dog, and it said the top caption said. Top and bottom caption said, "You make her laugh, he makes her come." It was one of those things where you just see it and
That's too close to home. Oh, I remember what the other one was. Lazy college senior. To me, I've actually looked up memes and used his advice. My personal favorite one is it's a dual one with the scumbag teacher, and it says you can't use Wikipedia on an article. And there's the lazy college senior, and he has catch me if you can. And I've honestly never every paper Wikipedia. I mean, and I kind of this is sort of a serious note. I get what they're saying. You need to go out and research this. But honestly, and they've always had this fear of everything on Wikipedia is the most pure BS, like Batman stars Woody Allen. Like, who is going to type something that stupid? And if you look up some sort of research for science paper, you're not gonna like, hey Frank, you know how hydrogen only has one electron? Yeah. I put it as 2. Like, you're not going to do that, and teachers really do need to calm down about Wikipedia.
I think Wikipedia is a good source for quick information that doesn't necessarily. When you're citing sources, you want to cite sources that are from legitimate
Actual
people and
material,
articles
yeah.
and that kind of thing. But when you can't remember it's like when you're like, okay, well, what year was the Good Woman of Szechuan written? And you're writing a paper about that. I don't know why that play came into my head, but and that's the case. You go to Wikipedia and it provides you with an instant answer to that question because it automatically tells you the date and when it was first performed and when it was written and all that.
It's a good source material to begin your research.
Yeah, because no teacher wants to see, if you say hypothetically you are writing a paper on the Good Woman of Szechuan, no teacher wants to see you say, in the first paragraph or first sentence or whatever, the Good Woman of Szechuan was written in 1930 whatever, and then cite a source. Like, that's just because it's common knowledge that you may not have known.
But to students listening out there, basically, if you read Wikipedia and just reword it, they'll never catch you.
I read a whole research paper on that once. I must say to the professors listening, none of you, that most of us aren't stupid. If we're going to be using Wikipedia as a source, we're going to be using stuff that has been cited. And
Exactly.
some of us, maybe the more lower level intelligence people, will be like, "Oh, Darth Vader was the 42nd president of the United States, and that was really offensive what I just said. I need to think out my words more." That's totally true.
All right. What, Will, is your guilty pleasure movie?
Oh, this is a fun one. My guilty pleasure movie.
Uh-huh.
I
The House
really
Bunny.
no. Although I do like Anna Faris a lot. I think she's hilarious and a really talented actress. But no, my guilty pleasure movie, I would have to say, I have many, but I would have to say that the one that will probably shock you guys the most is The Family Man with Nicolas Cage, believe it or not. I think that is a good, heartwarming Christmas movie. I also, honestly, I do. And that's so weird for me because, you know, when it comes to, I mean, of course, you know, I hate Christmas, and I hate Christmas carols, and I hate Christmas movies. Aside from Muppet Christmas Carol and A Christmas Story. And both of those are sort of strange Christmas movies.
Yes.
But, I mean, you know, I think that if you like the holiday season and you like that kind of movie, A Family Man isn't bad. But I also like another guilty pleasure of mine is the film Sugar and Spice with the cheerleaders who robbed the bank. Have you guys seen
I've
that?
heard of it.
Oh
I
my
haven't seen
God,
this.
it is so funny. Like, I mean, and I think it, you know, on the surface, it looks like just your regular run-of-the-mill sort of teen comedy, but I just think it's hysterical. I love that movie. So
The Family Man doesn't really surprise me for you, Will, because The Family Man's kind of an obscure movie.
it's not obscure.
If you had not just reminded me of it, I would have never thought of it for the next 20 years.
Well, I mean, it's not obscure in the way, for God's sakes, it's not a David Lynch or Joe Dorowski movie or some shit. Like, I mean, it was directed by Brett Ratner. It came out, it had Don Cheadle and Nicolas Cage and the blonde girl that no one remembers. But, yeah, I mean, like, when it came out, it was, you know, I mean, it was fairly known. It came out to a lot of mainstream theaters, most mainstream theaters, but people sort of forgot about it, I guess because they either disliked it or it wasn't particularly a...
For those who aren't here witnessing, I just tauntingly took off my glasses.
Ty cued me to take off my glasses.
I would have taken mine off too, but I don't wear them.
Here, use mine. Why are we doing visual cue jokes for an audio podcast?
After all, it's not really an obscure movie. It's just a movie that I've heard about, but you haven't, and that
No,
makes
most
me
people. Well, you've heard about it. You said that
Yeah.
you had heard about it
Of course,
after I mentioned it.
you're Josh. You're doing more of the soap opera doctor take off the glasses thing.
I'm afraid you have a horrible case of dramatitis.
Traumatitis.
Josh, your guilty pleasure movie?
God. I've always been a fan of the scary movie films. Not, I repeat, not the offset of those, the date movie and Meet the Spartans and disaster movies, the actual scary movies after the Wayans brothers, because really all those pot jokes were not that funny.
You know, I gotta say that I found which one had I think it was 3 and 4 the worst ones. I find those the funniest, but only with 4 the joke that I laugh the hardest is with Dr. Phil, and Shaq just keeps missing the shot, and Dr. Phil just goes, "Make the damn shot!" to me. You know, after he's like tried to make a title, which has obviously failed, but everything that he's worked for went down the drain, and that's sort of his acknowledgement, and to me that's just hilarious.
My favorite in Scary Movie 3, and for the record, Josh, I agree with you. I like both Scary Movies 1 and 2. But Scary Movies, I didn't like Scary Movie 3. I haven't seen Scary Movie 4. But I did like, there was one scene in Scary Movie 3 that cracked me up, and it was the scene where, because this is just like right after Signs came out.
Oh, yeah.
And you know the scene in Signs, it's one of the creepiest scenes in the whole movie, when they're filming with the camera and the alien walks across the screen like out of nowhere. And it's the one.
That scared the shit out
Oh,
of me,
me too. When I saw it, yeah, no, it's the one moment that everybody loses their minds. Like I remember even in the theaters, like people were screaming and jumping out of their chairs.
I saw bits and pieces of Signs when I was a wee young one, and I didn't watch horror movies yet, and that just scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it is a very, very scary movie.
And the same thing with that leg in the cornfield, and even if you watch like the the bonus features, and you just see like how they did, and it's literally just a leg on a stick.
Yeah.
And there's a guy in the cornfield just turning the leg, and even after I've seen that, that leg is still fucking creepy.
It is like that was M. Night Shyamalan's last good movie back when he understood that subtlety was better
yeah.
than killing killer trees. But the scene in Scary Movie 3 that I love is the part when when like they have like video footage of the alien, and it's just this guy walking around in an alien suit, and it's very obviously an alien suit, and he just like struts by the camera and just waves at the camera as he walks by, and he's like walking by like all these really weird locations. I think at one shot there's like 2 dogs fucking in the background. He just like waves at the camera. Like it is that actually really did crack me up. I thought that was pretty funny.
I feel it's sort of unfortunate now that Leslie Nielsen has died.
Oh yeah,
He was great, even though like he had like the worst parts. Even the way he performed it is just hilarious.
It is. I met him actually.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
He was one of the kings of satire. Film.
He really was.
Yeah, he was.
Fortunate that he's gone.
The best joke I've ever heard from him, and a lot of people probably will have something even better, but I love the scene in Naked Gun where he's talking to the wife of the victim, and he says, "We will not rest until we find that killer. Now let's go get a burger." To me, that is one of the best jokes ever.
I like Dracula Dead and Loving It too. I feel like that's one of his funniest movies.
I saw the first half of Dracula Dead and Loving It 2, Halloween 1998, and I still have not finished that film. And
You should watch it, man. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. I'm lazy.
It's so funny.
On a related note, my dad made me see When Mars Attacks when I
Oh
was
my God.
5. That scared the fucking shit out of me. And even though it's a comedy, and I've heard great things about it, I stayed up all night terrified, and I would hallucinate and just imagine the aliens walking by my door, kind of similar to the scene in Signs.
Yeah.
And just like they would like just look at me with these big bulging eyes and the brain just thwomping, and oh god, it scared the shit out of me.
They marketed that movie towards kids. I remember there were action figure sets, and it was a card series before that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I love that movie.
It's-
it's so funny.
I've not seen it today.
Oh,
but,
you should watch it, because I had a similar reaction to you when I was a kid and I saw it. I wasn't like terrified by it, but I didn't pick up that it was a parody of science fiction movies. Like, I didn't think it was particularly funny. I thought it was kind of disturbing.
I just thought my dad was a jerk, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, and these days when I watch it, I mean, it's just hilarious. There's a great scene in the movie where the old woman in the wheelchair is watching them. They come down from space and they go into the White House to make peace, quote unquote, with all the politicians. And he goes up to the podium to speak, and he just looks around and then takes out a ray gun and starts frying them. And they start blowing up the building, and then they go to get back on their spaceship. And the old woman is watching it live from the nursing home, and she's in a wheelchair, and all the other people around her are just practically dead, just dying old people. And she's like, she looks at the screen and she's laughing hysterically and pointing at the screen, and she goes, "They blew up Congress!" Like, it's seriously, it is one of the funniest movies ever.
And I gotta say, for me, with my guilty pleasure, it's kind of an obvious choice.
Backdoor Sluts 9.
My second obvious. But to me, now that I know what it really is and how just crap it is, I still have the same feeling I have when I originally saw it. I just know better, and it honestly is the first Pokemon movie.
Oh my God!
When I
It's
first
a tearjerker. That's not a guilty pleasure.
Well, let me explain. When I first saw it, I honestly thought, I was like, what is this Citizen Kane shit? This has nothing compared to the first Pokemon movie. And now that I've seen it again, I'm like, this is the most hypocritical piece of shit I've ever seen. And then the fact that there's this TV series, I guess, obviously now I'm with everyone else, that when Ash got stoned, ha 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 ha. When he got, turned to stone, granted I was like every other kid and cried, and then I'm a huge Ash and Misty shipper. And when she said, "Please no," I'm like, yes, they're gonna get married and have babies. But now I'm like, there's a series. I know he's gonna survive. I don't care. And then when I rewatched it, I saw how much really of an asshole Mewtwo was, and it's like, why is he a sympathetic villain? And until you actually look up the Japanese version, and it's like, oh, that makes much more sense. Screw humanity, Mewtwo should win. But really the message that Pokemon gives, it's like fighting is bad. That's why we're the biggest video. That's why we're one of the biggest video game franchises about animal abuse.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's one quote, and Jon Stewart said it when he was making fun of Michael Caine quoting the second Pokemon movie. But it really was when Mewtwo said, "It's not." I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact words, but it was something like, "It's not your birth or where you were born in the world that determines who you are, but it's really how you think and what you do that determines who you really are."
Right.
And to me, that's just like the greatest thing, the coolest thing that I've heard a giant psychic Japanese cat monster say.
It's a giant psychic Japanese cat monster is smart enough to say it and mean it, but our politicians are not.
Oh God, no. But I cannot remember the voice actor who voiced Mewtwo, but it really was a phenomenal performance, even if the script was a little bit weird. But and I will say, when he died and they did the sequel with Dan Green, who's also the voice of Yu-Gi-Oh, but both Yami or Tim, if you want to go ahead and spoil it, Tim and Yugi. And he's a fantastic voice actor. And if it wasn't for the fact that he's chained to the nuts with 4 kids, he really should go out and do more. And he was a fantastic substitute for Mewtwo. And
This is Ty Cook's voice actor rant.
and for those who know, I'm a voice actor in training. So if I go a little bit too hardcore voice acting, please don't forgive me. Josh, who is your childhood hero?
Ooh, crap. Well. Provide me a distraction.
Will, who's your childhood hero?
My childhood hero. I have many childhood heroes. I guess are we talking in age range like would like 12, 13, still count? Because that's when I was getting.
For the sake of conversation, sure.
I mean, that's when I was getting into film and that kind of stuff. But before that, I would say honestly, fictionally speaking, my childhood hero when I was a kid was probably Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I go ahead and assume it's the Bruce Timm voiced by Kevin Conroy.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was a lot of different. I mean, Batman characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, yeah, that was like the first like Batman show that thing that I started watching regularly, and then of course, Michael Caine, the Tim Burton Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Just Batman in general. I mean, I loved Batman when I was a kid. I dressed up like Batman all the fucking time. I drove my parents crazy. And so yeah, and then logically following that, I would say that my hero when I was like 12, 13 years old, and I really started like paying attention to film and things like that, which eventually developed into the love of it that I have today. Tim Burton was a huge hero of mine when I was a kid. Not so much anymore. But I mean, like, he was a huge influence, I feel like.
To me, and of course I could go on a huge nerd rant.
Just
but,
say Batman, Ty.
well, granted, Batman was a huge influence on me.
If you say Aquaman, I swear to God.
No, but I will say people do give him too much discredit, because if you think about it, this guy, I mean, he's the king of Atlantis, obviously, but the fact that he does battle just miles and miles under the sea, and and the feats he does with tons and tons of metric pressure on him, and he does fantastic battle there, but as soon as he gets up on in land and in the air, the fact that he doesn't have a lot of pressure to hold him back, that means he's super strong, super fast, and yet people like, he talks to a fish, he's got the same powers as SpongeBob. It's like, yes, that's kind of cheesy, but the fact that he can throw a fucking whale on you, and all the superpowers. But my childhood hero, to me, I've always believed you shouldn't have real people. I mean, you can say, your father, you're a sports person. Look at Tiger Woods and how that's turned out. That's fine. If you're kind of doing that, like if you're trying to raise your own family, you can look for inspiration there, or look for golf techniques. But to me, I've always believed fictional characters should be a hero, because even when they fault, they're supposed to fault, and they learn from the faults if the show's written well. But to me, my hugest inspiration was the Jaleel White Sonic the Hedgehog, and I watched both the serious Sonic the Hedgehog show and the silly adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and to me, I tried to match all my viewpoints the way he does. I mean, that's honestly probably where I got the smart-ass thing was from Sonic the Hedgehog. So, but that's mine, so we've delayed long enough. Do you have one now, or?
Batman. It was Batman.
Batman. So,
yeah, Batman's the general.
For those listeners, this is now officially the Batman fan club. Bruce Timm, if you are listening, please let us talk to you. We're so desperate to talk to you.
Well, he's so desperate to talk to
We
you.
will give Ty's left nut to talk to you.
To talk to you, yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
We'll buy another microphone just specifically.
Please, Bruce Timm.
Just for a 5-minute interview. Okay.
Next question. I guess following that, who is your hero or biggest motivator now? Do we need to delay again?
No. I'd say Nathan Lane.
Really?
Nathan Lane, he may often play the same archetype, but that's how our industry works.
And side note, I've always believed that, to me, someone who can do the same archetype and make that work every time is more impressive than having a range of characters. But sorry, continue.
Like in The Producers, which is like most Tony Award-winning musical ever.
Yeah.
He played the womanizing Max. Fuck, what was his name? Jesus, Max.
I don't know much about Broadway musicals, so I'll believe whatever you
He
say.
played Max, who was this old womanizing man. Apparently, Nathan Lane is as gay as Christmas time, and I just and the way he plays that, it's so believable. It's just so respectable, and that's something I want to do someday.
Nice.
Maybe not be small and chubby, but
And I gotta say, I hate to say this, but the first time I was
Bialystok.
introduced...
Max Bialystok. Sorry.
Ah, yes. But I mean, I was introduced to him obviously as Timon. As a kid of the 90s, you have to be born and raised on Disney. It's a rule now, apparently. And, I heard him as Timon. And, even when we're, in the costume shop working with the soundtrack on, I honestly don't hear Nathan Lane playing Max. I'm like, what the hell is Timon doing on a Broadway stage? I don't know if that's just me being closed-minded or Timon is such an iconic character, but that's just something that drives me nuts when I hear something like that.
I think Nathan Lane has played a lot of iconic characters. I think I have mad respect for him. I mean, like, he's so relevant, like, I guess, in my childhood, but also, being, I guess, a theater person now, I'm just like, I mean, he's still relevant today, and I just think his career is really cool. I think it's cool how versatile he is. But yet how you can always know when you hear Nathan Lane's voice, like, it's him. So, yeah, I think that's...
I mean, he even recently played Gomez Adams.
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard about that.
Nathan Lane, we love you, please. Please come here. We love you more than Bruce Timm.
Josh loves you more than Bruce Timm. You're my nerd god, basically.
I'll give you both of Ty's nuts.
In one of Will's lenses.
Can we give Will both lenses and not get my nut
No.
and give him contacts instead? To me, every time I hear his motivational speech, James Arnold Taylor, who, surprise, surprise, voice actor, but right now he is the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Clone Wars, and he's got this little 10 to 30 minute little video, and just it really is, even if you're not a voice actor, just actor or really anything, if you're having trouble being what you're wanting to be, the way he talks, it just gives me motivation, and he's honestly helped me. Just listening to him talk has helped me get out of some really big pits of when I've just have not been able to find the motivation to go forward. Listening to his motivational speech is just really awe-inspiring. I mean, and also, you know, if I want to say someone acting wise, Hugh Laurie as House.
Yeah.
If I mean, he's you know how you know every kid wants to be Batman. As an adult, I want to be House. That's
Yeah, he's really good in that role, I think.
to me, it's like, wait, he was British? He was the dad in Stuart Little?
Yeah.
Oh.
Crazy, yeah. Very good.
I'm actually more fond of Hugh Laurie in Blackadder III as the prince. Where this huge doofus who happens to be royalty and his smart and cunning butler.
Have you seen the internet meme when it said something like, the moment you realize that House and Ron Weasley's dad were the two villains in 101 Dalmatians, and it shows like the shocked horror face meme. It's like, oh my god, I did not know this. And it's like, holy crap, House and Ron Weasley's dad were the villains. All right.
Oh, wait, I gotta go.
Oh, sorry.
My personal heroes. I'll make it quick.
Let's-
But I film related, and I have to throw that one in because you guys know me. Film related, it's Stanley Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
No reason to go any further in explaining that.
Yeah, of course.
You say Stanley Kubrick, and
A Clockwork Orange.
Stanley Kubrick, and then someone somewhere bows his head in respect, or just because he was a genius.
Yeah.
But in terms of like personal heroes, just in general, Kurt Vonnegut.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really feel like Kurt Vonnegut was not only just a really witty and brilliant writer, he was just a good person in general. And he was cynical as all hell, but I mean, he was really he was a decent person. He was a humanitarian. He was very pro-human rights. He took care of, I think, 5 or 6 children, 3 of his own, and then 2 or 3 after his sister died. He took care of her children.
Wow.
And he was just an amazing human being, and he is the author of some of the most inspiring quotes to me. One of them being from his book Mother Night, which he said was the moral of the story, which was, "We are who we pretend to be, so we must be careful who we pretend to be." And another quote that was actually in Eric's plays that he used, but I think is very, very good. He's the author of the quote that says, "Life is usually so horrible that we must recognize every moment that isn't." So I mean, he's full of great quotes. He was a brilliant man. He was a good man, a brilliant writer, and just a really awesome person. So
Nice.
Kurt Vonnegut, I think, is the ultimate answer to that question for me.
All right. This is the last of the questions I wrote down. What would you do with the end of the world? Or I rewrote this, my horrible grammar from being from the holler. If it's the end of the world and you have 24 hours, what would you do? What would you do?
Starting with me.
Anyone really?
Murder spree.
I would find the place where I knew in the world or in the city or country or state or whatever, where I knew would have the best view of the end of the world happening, the fireworks, and I would sit there with a bottle of wine and watch it. Actually, multiple bottles of wine. I would progressively get drunk until the...
That is extremely Will Radford.
Yeah.
Plus an IV drip of wine, just to be sure.
Right, yeah. No, an IV, well, you put morphine in that. But I mean, you have, I mean, yeah. I would tell everybody that I love them, or everybody that I actually loved, that I love them, and then I would go find the best view of the world ending and the asteroids falling from the sky, and I would bring a lot of alcohol, and I'd throw a fucking party. That's what I'd do.
Nice.
So, December 21st, 2012, we're all invited to Will Radford's Let's Watch the World Burn party.
Yeah, that's going to be a very disappointing party, though, because it's not actually going to happen.
And right before the party, we'll play that clip from The Dark Knight with Michael Caine.
Unless Snooki has her kid. I mean, fuck the Mayans. If that happens, then I am convinced that the end of the world will occur fairly soon.
I hate that quote that she said when she said something like, "That's why I don't eat lobsters, because they're alive when you kill it." I'm like,
Yeah.
is there any other way?
Yeah.
Eating them live, of course.
So is your answer really murder spree, Josh?
That would be my second answer.
Excited. I gotta say my answer's kind of close to yours, sadly.
I do the whole loved one thing like Will would do, and I just kind of. I don't know. I think I'd hunker down, try to survive it.
You'd come to my fucking party, is what you would do.
Yeah, I would go.
Like I would make sure that you were there.
I
For
would.
that.
I would build. I'm gonna start construction right now on a fallout shelter on the hill where Will is going to host his party, and I will watch from a window.
Well, right
Made of
now I'm
diamonds.
sorry. Well, right now I'm currently single for not liking Twilight, sadly. Poor me. But so yeah, I can understand the loved one thing. So if I was in that situation, I would do it. But if an orgy is out of the question with all my dream girls, I would probably honestly say start a bar fight. I honestly.
You could start a bar fight at my party.
Because, I'm just such a... you can say what you want about me being an asshole and, always smart-assing, but the fact that I've always been such a withdrawn person that I've just always wanted to beat the shit out of someone by hitting their head with a chair. I have just always felt that need. And if there are any psychologists listening, please forgive me for this statement. But... that's just
Or give him some real good drugs.
but that's just something that I've always wanted to do. Maybe finally call out all the people and just wail on them because there's virtually no repercussions because it's not going to matter. I mean, there's no tomorrow to where I can regret.
Write an opera, and it just be songs individually telling people to go fuck themselves.
Well, that's the sad thing is I'm afraid my opera would be. I'm having another brain fart. The two Canadians from South Park. Terrence and Phillip. Because I'm afraid the whole thing is going to be, fuck you in the face, motherfucker. I'm afraid that's going to be the entire opera there.
Let's nix that last one there, just for now, because it's a family show,
Oh, yeah. We definitely haven't offended anyone yet, so let's try to keep it that way. Now on to Josh's questions.
The last one.
Well, we'll get to that one. Where is the weirdest place you've made love? Josh, do you want to go ahead and start this one since it's yours?
I could just make something completely fabricated, because I know my mother's going to be listening. Hi, Mom, again.
No, don't fabricate this.
No.
No.
Let's make this a two-parter. Then, where is the weirdest place you've made love, and then where would be the coolest? Or let's do both romantic and the weirdest. So three-part question. Where have you done it? Where would you? And where would be the weirdest?
Where would be the weirdest?
Okay. The first answer would be, where is the weirdest place you've done it? Where would be the most romantic place you would like to make love, and where would be the weirdest place that you would still make love?
The weirdest place I would, probably at the top of the grid. That's where where all the flying things are suspended in the theater. That's right above the stage.
Yes, 75 feet above the stage with only just a few pipes holding you up.
I've made out in the back of a car in a Walmart parking lot, so that's probably the weirdest place.
And most romantic.
Most romantic. I really don't have any answer for that. I don't. A dark room with candles, flower petals, rose petals, of course.
Of course.
Barry White playing in the background. This is my seductive voice.
Yeah. You better pay attention because we're going to be talking like this all night long. And that was my horrible impersonation of Kevin Michael Richardson. To me, the weirdest place. My girlfriend's parents' bedroom. To me, that would be kind of weird. To me, the parents' bedroom is more weird than the movie theater.
I
What?
was going to say, you've done it in a movie theater, was it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just
Was it the cinema theater when it was still open?
Did you pay $2?
Because I caught some people doing some shit in there.
what was the was it Bradley Cooper, and what was the movie where he takes the pills to be really intelligent, to where like he activates all of his brain, which is completely bullcrap, since we do not as humans use 10%. We use all of our brain. We just don't know what it does. But what was that movie? Was it Bradley Cooper?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know either. I've never heard of that.
Limitless. That what it was.
Oh, Limitless.
That's. I hope this ex is not listening, because you know who you are. But yeah, that's the weirdest place. No, that's what I was referencing. But the the parents' bedroom I find weird. It's a really fluffy bed though. The most romantic, I would honestly think, just a really expensive beach house, a huge bedroom, big bed with white. All the windows are open. It's a beautiful day, and then there's just this huge white bed, and to me that would probably be the most romantic.
Ty, from what you're describing, it sounds like the place where Bella and Edward had their honeymoon in Breaking Dawn.
I thought they did it in the woods.
No, they did it on like a secluded island in this big airy house, and that was the gayest thing I just ever said.
Fuck.
Stephanie Meyer might be your soulmate, Ty.
Okay, let me first say the reason I cannot stand Twilight. I've forgiven her for not following the rules of vampirism. I mean, there's no rules at all. They just run really fast, and occasionally have to drink blood. Those are the only rules. I don't screw the glitter shit. But to me, when I watched movies 1 and 3 with an ex, just the movie itself was just a god. Everything went wrong. The acting, the script, the cinematography, the special effects. There was not a single good thing about it. There was huge plot holes, just everything. There was not a single decent thing about that movie.
You've seen Breaking Dawn, or not Breaking Dawn? What is that?
That was the most recent one.
Twilight, not Eclipse.
I saw 1 and
New
3,
Moon.
whatever that is.
New Moon was it? That was boring as hell. I watched it with riff tracks. Are you familiar with riff tracks?
Yeah, of course. It's it's 2 guys from Mystery Science Theater. Oh, is it 3? Okay.
3 guys from Mystery Science Theater giving commentaries to contemporary films.
Yeah.
Even with riff tracks, that was boring as hell.
I can definitely imagine that. But the weirdest place that I would still do it. Let's see. Weird sex. That is kind of borderlines between fantasy, but honestly, I would do it while we were cosplaying at an anime convention in the bathroom.
Cosplay bathroom.
I would still do that, though. I would have to be cosplaying Itachi, and she would have to be cosplaying Conan from the Akatsuki organization and Naruto.
Oh, I thought you were going to Itachi from Naruto and Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Or Conan O'Brien.
Well, I guess technically with the Japanese pronunciation Conan, but yeah, that'd be my weird place.
Even worse, Detective Conan.
All right.
Is that it? I thought that was it.
No, there's 2 more. What is your favorite movie?
What is my favorite movie?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did Will answer the last one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, did you? I thought you did. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Damn it.
Go ahead.
Well, quickly. I do.
No, take your time. I mean, it's
To confirm Josh's statement earlier that I'm boring, weirdest place I've ever had sex is a dorm room.
I'm getting out of this chair now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Oh God.
yeah, you're sitting all over it, guys.
dear.
So yeah,
No.
I ran out of Lysol wipes, so you guys are just gonna have to stick it out. Hope you like AIDS. Now, anyway,
Butt's all wet.
as far as the weirdest place that you could do that at, I would say probably a library would be really strange to me. Although I'm sure numerous people have done that. And as far as the most romantic, I don't believe in romanticism, and so I don't think that question counts for me.
That's why I was kind of having trouble figuring out what would.
Just
Would be romantic for me? Yeah.
well, not like fluffy puffy romance. I mean, I'm just trying treating your lover as you should, and just
I got it. Garbage dumpster. I think that's pretty romantic. You've got food. You've got you've even maybe got some alcohol in there, some leftover alcohol.
To
No
Will's-
one can see you. It's dark. You can light candles. It's quiet. It's perfect.
Beth, we know you're listening. This is what you
I
have
am
to
so
look forward
sorry.
to.
And if she ever dumps Will, it's not like she has another pick of the litter. We've got a flaming homosexual and a guy who wants to and a guy who wants to do it dressed up as nerds in a bathroom. So, oh boy.
Though, it
okay.
must be noted that I slept with Will's girlfriend before he did.
Yeah, this is true.
Yes.
Yeah, this is very
In
true.
the litter.
We have actually Josh and I have a competition going, that we haven't told a lot of people, but it is a competition, and may the best man win. And the only thing I have to say to you, Josh, is watch your back. So
And he quite literally means watch your back, because you technically count as one of the victims.
right, yeah. So
Well,
I
you know.
mean, best watch yourself.
Best check myself before I wreck myself. If
I
I
was
was
gonna-
Just check
You
yourself
best check yourself before you wreck
before
yourself.
you wreck yourself.
That's Aqua Teen.
This is
yeah.
extreme white boy theater.
Whitest kid you know.
And then the sad thing is, and this is kind of serious but comical itself, I hate the fact that the theater department truly is the whitest thing on the planet. We've got 2 black people, and they're just
African
not.
American style.
Okay, we've got
Yeah,
2
yes, Ty. Be as politically correct.
We don't
as
want to offend
possible,
people.
please.
Okay,
That is
we've
not the
got two-
preferred nomenclature.
Okay.
Be politically correct, or else I'm going to fucking file a lawsuit against you.
Okay, Bill O'Reilly, calm down. But I mean, and the 2 that we have, I mean, they honestly put Josh out of shame. I mean, there's just absolutely nothing,
I've
at least African American about the African Americans, really. But we have 1 half Asian girl, and that's about as diverse as we get. We have 1 ginger.
we're a couple of years away from a production of Rent.
I mean, we really are. That there's just no way we could possibly do it.
We're working up to that.
And so we just have us awkward geeks, a few prima donna blonde girls, and that's really about it. I mean, that's theater really is the whitest thing on the planet. It sadly is.
White people problem.
It really is. It's white people problems. Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. Shock Treatment. The
Sequel?
the sequel to Rocky Horror. I've always been a fan of it. When people say, "Oh, it sucks as a movie, as a sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show," and it's like, I don't look at it like that. It's a follow-up film. It has the same characters, more or less, and if you look at it as a standalone film, it actually stands up today as a really, really good parody of reality television. And back then, it was just a simple parody of soap operas, but apparently soap operas back in the 80s translate to reality television today.
Right, yeah, pretty much. I would agree with that.
And apparently our memory card on the camera is full, so I guess there goes the end of that
Well,
extras.
You know, I'm just so pretty. I take up gigabytes.
And I will be honest, when I was asking the childhood hero question, I was hoping, please don't be Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Please don't be Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I've actually shadow cast as Tim Curry in the Rocky Horror Picture Show once.
Tim Curry was
It was-
good in Rocky Horror.
And I gotta say, it's also a guilty pleasure to enjoy that horrible European accent Tim Curry does, and yet I enjoy it every time I hear it.
The shadow casting I actually did was impromptu. It was like the first time in years they'd shown the Rocky Horror Picture Show in our town, and they had to go into an overflow theater to show it on 2 screens, and so we didn't have the shadow cast. So just a bunch of people from the audience decided, hey, we're going to do it ourselves. And I just happened to be wearing
Nice.
a corset, and I happened to have the cape. And so I was the best damn shadow caster of that cast. And I got to beat up a former classmate of ours, Caitlin.
Nice. Wait, which
Caitlin.
one?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Ooh, that's some bad memories for me.
So,
Wow.
yeah. Shock treatment.
Your favorite movie?
My favorite movie as of now is probably Pan's Labyrinth.
God, I was wanting something more obscure.
I was gonna
I
say,
know, you see, you
this would be the
misjudged me.
one
That's what I'm telling you.
this would be the one time I would allow you to take off the glasses and
Yeah.
do your cross-legged thing.
Yeah,
and,
no.
and take off, just do that. But
I mean, seriously. I mean, I've tried. I've gone through a lot of different favorite movies in my life, and right now it's Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, followed maybe seconded by like Barry Lyndon or Pan's Labyrinth or Barry Lyndon. One of those two I think are my two best movies I've ever seen. Yeah.
I have a tie and I cannot decide.
You're a tie.
Oh, it's so
I
funny
really-
because I can't make up my decision and it's a tie and my name is Ty. Oh. But it's honestly a combination between Monty Python and the Holy Grail and V for Vendetta.
Oh, those are good.
To me, with Holy Grail, it's just such a perfectly written and done movie. Granted, it's full of everything that you shouldn't do, but yet it works perfectly. Even if it's not playing off the fact that you shouldn't do this, it just still works.
It's one of those rare movies that the more absurd it is, the funnier it is. Like, I mean, it never goes too far in my opinion. Like, nothing they do in that movie is too much or too ridiculous. I think that it's all fucking hilarious.
And I find it weird that it's almost funnier to quote it than it is to watch it. To me,
Yeah.
we can watch what the curtains. No, not the curtains. And yet, when you say that with friends, it's like the most fucking hilarious thing on the planet. I don't know what it is.
It's a very quotable movie.
And with me, V for Vendetta combines a bunch of things. One, I personally love the story of the Count of Monte Cristo, and I'm kind of a big Shakespeare whore too, despite the fact that I'm really not knowledgeable. But what I do know about Shakespeare, I love phenomenally, and the fact that it really is just Edmond Dante's kicking ass while quoting Shakespeare. To me, that is just awesome. And he's portrayed by Hugo Weaving, which I gotta say, he's a very awesome actor, and he's very intimidating when I got his autograph. I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get his autograph. He walks in with that huge beard when I saw him play
Vanya,
the
right?
doctor in
Yeah.
Uncle Vanya,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Mr. Weaving, can you sign my Lord of the Rings book? Sure. Okay.
No.
Here you go. Thank you. But
It's not simply walking to Mordor.
Ty then wept in the bathroom for 5 hours after that.
oh, it was. I did not shut up the whole way home since seeing that. And also Natalie Portman, who I gotta say she's. I kind of view her in the same boat as Emma Watson. She's still hot without hair.
Wait. Was she in Uncle Vanya?
No. Natalie Portman
Okay.
was in V for Vendetta.
Oh, V for
And
Vendetta.
she had her hair shaved.
Yeah.
But
No, that's
like Emma Watson, still hot without the hair.
right. Yeah, she's great. I love Natalie Portman.
And the last question: who is your least favorite person / celebrity? Anyone, really?
I would probably say a tie between Lady Gaga and Bill O'Reilly, maybe. But it's kind of a hard thing to decide, even though I'm the one that wrote the damn question. Lady Gaga, probably, honestly. To be perfectly honest with everybody, I think as far as my least favorite celebrity goes, she is definitely up there.
That's a really good question.
It is a really good question.
That's for the longest time I did not like Michael Cera for some reason.
He just doesn't. I don't get them. Let's see.
The sounds of awkward silence.
It is. I bet Simon and Garfunkel never wrote that. Sound of awkward silence.
The listeners are just glad they have a break from our rattling
Exactly.
on.
It's like, what's this? A pause button? Oh, thank God.
Right. It is kind of a hard question.
I'm trying to think of someone whose just views I cannot stand, or I just refuse to quote Dr. Seuss with the Grinch, that I refuse to touch with the 10-foot pole.
Right.
You know, I can say what I want about Fox News, and well, I'm sure they're assholes. They're just being assholes on TV. That's common, and that's kind of the same thing with Kardashians or the Jersey Shore assholes.
I think that's actually probably such a hard question because with celebrities, it seems like
You have to hate them.
Yeah, you do.
Well, yeah, you don't like them, or you don't like some of the things they do, but even then, a lot of times they still have their moments where you agree with them. Like, I mean, Lady Gaga is the first one that comes to mind that I just absolutely cannot stand anything she does, says, sings, or stands for. But I mean, when it comes to when it comes to Bill O'Reilly, as weird as it sounds, there have actually been a few times where I've agreed with Bill O'Reilly.
I was actually surprised he supported Ellen DeGeneres during
Yeah, I
the
saw
Million
that.
Mom
I saw
fiasco.
that he supported that. During the bailout, he called out a lot of left and right wing radio talk show hosts who were talking about, I think talking against the bailout and how they weren't for that idea. And he was like, they don't have any place to talk here because, if there's an economic collapse, a depression, then they're not the ones who are going to be suffering for it. I'm not the one who's going to be suffering for it. I've got money in the bank. They've got money in the bank. You guys are going to be suffering for it. So they need to shut the fuck up. And I mean, like, a lot of, there have been a few times where he's said some stuff that I actually really agree with. So, I mean, Lady Gaga, on the other hand, I can't think of a single damn thing. She is literally as transparent and hollow as fucking cellophane. Like, I mean, she is the single most materialistic, one-dimensional, shallow human being I think to have ever existed. And the thing that makes her even more shameful and disgusting as a result of that is she takes all of this pride in being that way, as if it excuses her and other people like her to be that way.
But she was born this way.
It's a great example of what I'm talking about. She's got a whole song defending her tendencies to be completely shallow and materialistic and hollow.
And yet, oddly enough, in the song that's supposed to, defend everyone, she still offends everyone in East Asia. Is like, oh, I'm going to list all these people, but East Asia just gets Oriental. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
It's like, wow, way to be a dick, Lady Gaga. Way to show that the fact you have a dick.
Actually, I thought of someone else. Kristen Stewart, a.k.a. Bella from Twilight.
Yes.
I was so excited about the Snow White movie. Snow White and the Huntsman, I believe it's called. Because I thought, ooh, maybe this time they'll get it right when they didn't get it right with Red Riding Hood. With a darkened
that was-
fairy tale. And then I saw Kristen
That
Stewart.
was Twilight 5.
Kristen Stewart dressed like Disney's Snow White.
Is she really dressed like Disney?
From what I
Snow White?
recall. Don't
Okay,
quote me on
yeah.
this, but it's just, I was
mean,
so looking
I
forward
have
to
no
this.
interest.
And then the Julia Roberts movie was announced, and I was like,
Hmm.
this seems so much better.
And yet it still has that, to quote South Park, it still has the other Snow White movie. It has that Rob Schneider Disney, doop, de doop, de doop, everything's going to be turned upside down, de doop.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like-
both Snow.
Oh,
I
God,
actually
no.
think that both Snow White movies look like garbage. I don't mind Kristen Stewart though. I mean, I actually don't. I mean, I think that Twilight's horrible, and I think that she's made some very bad.
If she can prove me wrong in her acting, fine. I honestly have. I mean, in Twilight, her and other dude,
Yeah.
whatever his name is,
Robert
Patton
Pattinson.
Robinson.
He's actually going to be in a David Cronenberg movie.
I
coming
mean,
out soon.
that was just god awful movies, and I saw Water for Elephants. Surprise, surprise, and he was decent. He certainly wasn't good, but he was decent enough, and
Yeah.
that's enough for
I
me
just
to not
want
hate
to
on
see.
him.
I want to see both of those actors in different movies. I want to see them get away from Twilight. I know Kristen Stewart has On the Road coming out. I really want to see that. and Robert Pattinson has Cosmopolis, the David Cronenberg movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I'm excited to see both of those because, you know, I think that it looks like they have picked more mature and better acting choices. But at the same time, I don't entirely blame them for Twilight because, frankly, if somebody offered me a role in Twilight, I'll never see that happening. But if someone came to my door tomorrow and offered me a role in Twilight, I'd say hell yeah.
I was about to say, fuck yeah, give me the
Yeah, I
money.
mean, you know, it's like when you're an actor, you know, or
Until you have the ability to choose, please, Edward Murphy, choose your scripts.
I mean, yeah, exactly. For God's sakes, I mean, if a Twilight movie would get me into a movie based off of a Jack Kerouac novel or a David Cronenberg film, I'd very happily be in a Twilight movie.
Didn't the recent Eddie Murphy movie literally get a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes?
It was
What was
bad.
it?
It was bad.
The
1,000 words.
where
something like that.
according to the trailer, he talks way too much and just offends so many people.
It's
and
literally a whole movie where Eddie Murphy does not talk. And it's funny because why would you put Eddie Murphy in a movie where he doesn't talk? He doesn't ever get to talk.
but just what would you say would be the last funny Eddie Murphy
Oh,
movie?
God.
That's not part of Shrek.
Nutty Professor, probably. I didn't see Daddy Daycare or
No.
Norbit or any
No,
of that shit.
that was kind of the start. I would almost have to say Doolittle. I think Doolittle would be the last.
I can't even think of anything. Coming to America is a good movie, and I don't know if that's his last good movie, but certainly.
Oh, wait, no, well, it wasn't that great of a movie, but I liked him in Dreamgirls. I thought he was
I
really
forgot
good
he
in
was
Dreamgirls.
Girls.
Yeah, I did too for a second. But yeah, he actually got an Oscar nom for that role, and I thought he was good in it. He actually played a character that wasn't, you know, entirely comedic, which was really interesting. He did a dramatic role in that. So I mean, it was cool, and he sang in it too. I think, from what I remember. Yeah, but he was good in that. The movie was not great, but he was good.
I mean, to me, I have been thinking about this, and I honestly still can't decide. I don't know whether this is just my weird mental process, but I'm sure I could easily rant about my exes and all of the messed up crap they've done. But honestly, the biggest thing right now is a certain teacher I have who just... if it's something I've done, I'd love to know how or why, but
You existed.
I feel that there is a refusal to teach because I am not extremely gifted or naturally talented.
Pretty.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I know I look like the hillbilly cousin of Sheldon Cooper, but really, you know, despite a lack of anything, I feel a teacher's duty is to not abandon someone, and especially in these confusing times, and especially here in college, we're on the where we're out of high school, where we've stopped caring, and right now we're starting to care. We're going out into the real world, and to be honest, going out into the real world is a terrifying thought to me. I mean, the simple thought of moving out to L.A., it just scares the shit out of me, and you know, it makes me think, you know, I've made this my sole plan. There is no plan B, because there should not be a plan B. Mm-hmm. I know my mother will hate that statement, but to make it here, you should not, and
you literally have to refuse to do anything else.
Exactly.
And even then, there's no guarantee that you'll make it.
Exactly, and the fact that there's almost a sense of abandonment from a teacher, to me, that's even more of a scumbag than Scumbag Steve.
I used to have a director who, at a point, he would just stop giving notes because he thought it was worthless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of offensive when you think
Yeah.
about it. It's like, you've got so little faith in your cast, and not showing any faith in your cast.
Mm-hmm.
Stop giving notes.
That's especially offensive and unacceptable for a director to do when part of a director's job, even in the most professional form of theater or film, is to motivate the cast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
To give just the classic director question, what's my motivation, comes from that. And as cliched and typical as it is, but yeah, that is especially unacceptable, I think. Anyway, yeah, I think is that it for?
I think those are the questions.
Yeah.
So to continue, do you guys want to continue on the show, or do you?
We're at
We're about like an hour and 30
we're at
minutes,
an
40
hour
minutes
and
into this.
40. I don't think this is a bit stretching it, don't you think? Maybe.
Honestly, I think we could still go on if we wanted, but
I think we should.
you want to go ahead and stop? Well,
I
okay.
need a cigarette.
All right. Well, I'm Ty Cook,
I'm Will
I'm
Radford.
Josh DeBenny.
signing out.
Remember, tip your waitress.